out there, this is the Irate Veteran coming at you with another video. Any veterans out there need any veteran to veteran advice, go to vamadness.com, fill out the contact sheet, and I'll be happy to advise. Let me thank my sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. We're talking about Sean Kendall, Hill and Ponton, the people at VA Disability Group, the people at Valor Firm, and West and Dunn. Let me read this little disclaimer. I am not recommending any specific lawyer or law firm to veterans. Veterans need to conduct their own due diligence before selecting a lawyer or law firm as their representative. That being said, I really do thank them helping me help you. All right, let's jump into our video. We're talking about the spine. This is the third part of the spine series. To learn everything you want to know about back or need to know about back and neck claims, watch all 3 videos. Let's get right into the compensation and pension exam. Both the neck and back are very similar as far as what you need to know. The exam, of course, is examiner is going to fill out a DBQ, a disability benefit questionnaire. The examiner is going to ask you questions. Do not wing it. You should hopefully have downloaded my example statement and filled in all the relevant needed parts so that you can discuss those with the examiner. If you need to, read your statement to the examiner. Always take a copy with you and give it to the examiner and letting him know you brought a copy for the examiner's convenience. He may not want to look at your statement. Then read it to him. Again, don't just start answering questions unless you memorized your statement. For those of you who didn't write a statement, it's not too late. If your exam's a week or more away, or even a few days, if you upload a statement right away, it may get in your claims file before the exam. For those of you where it is too late, or you don't want to take any chances, read the statement, my example statement, and then make notes and bring those notes with you to the exam. The examiner is going to do a physical exam. He's going to do active, passive, and repetitive range of motion testing using a goniometer to do the measurements, and will note any observed symptoms such as guarding or muscle spasms. The examiner will also make 2 estimates for further range of motion losses during repeated use over time, which is like at the end of your day. What are you like at the end of the day? What is your back and neck like at the end of the day? And of course, also when your neck or back has flare-ups, you'll be doing estimates for further range of motion loss for that. The doctor will note radiculopathy, pain, tingling, numbness to your extremities. With backs, that involves your your lower extremities. With necks, your upper extremities. For back exams, they may do the straight leg rising test. I've seen examiners do it, and some do, some don't, right? So there's no specific test for radiculopathy for necks. So you don't kind of have to worry about a test for that. And none of this you can do anything about. This is all the examiner's portion. The examiner's in control of these issues, and you just play along, cooperate with the examiner. Your part is to ensure you mention painful motion. If you have painful motion, make sure you report radiculopathy. When you do that, report your pain level on the 10 scale. If it's at a 3 during the exam, say so. Always put a number on it. The same thing with repeated use over time and flare-ups. When he asks you about those, make sure you put your further range of motion losses or limitations during your flare-ups or repeated use over time in the form of a math problem, as I have in my example statement. Simply saying, during a flare-up, I have an additional 25% range of motion loss, or something similar. Again, review my statement. And then, of course, you should review the DBQ, right? There's a lot of questions on the DBQ. Often examiners don't go over all of those things. If there's anything important you want to discuss with the examiner that's on the DBQ, make a note and make sure if the examiner doesn't bring it up, you bring it up. When you're reviewing the DBQ, I found one little discrepancy. Let's say it's kind of a funny discrepancy. On the neck exam, or the neck DBQ, it specifically says radiculopathy can be made by history of characteristic radiating pain or sensory changes in the legs. A neck DBQ shouldn't say that, right? It should say characteristic radiating pain or sensory changes in the arms. I mean, that's what it should say, right? But it doesn't say. So don't get confused. The neck is upper extremities, even though the neck DBQ calls out the legs. This is just VA being VA. In other words, stupid being stupid. Really? That's all you need to know about the exam. Your part, the VA's part. The VA part, you have no control. Over this part, over these descriptions, you have all the control. Make sure you take that control. Increases. I have an increase example statement at vamadness.com at the Get Free Advice page. Increases. I have lots of people who contact me because they think they're increased because they are having neck surgery or back surgery, or that they have some new condition has came up, or they're getting shots in their neck or back for pain. That's all interesting stuff, but it may not be relevant to an increase. All that's relevant for increases is what's on the rating schedule. Shots, surgeries, more diagnosis, those aren't there for the most part. What matters is, did any of these issues cause your range of motion to worsen? If they did, file an increase. Did any of these issues start radiculopathy, or did your radiculopathy worsen? Did ankylosis develop? For those of you who have the disc syndrome, did the number of weeks ordered for bed rest increase? Those are the things that's important about an increase. If none of those things are going on with your claim, you shouldn't file an increase. Right? But if you believe that things have worsened in the way of range of motion, radiculopathy, ankylosis, or more time ordered to bed, then, of course, file an increase. Increases are filed on the VA Form 21526 EZ. Pretty simple to fill out. Back condition worsened, seeking increased rating. And, of course, you should put down the date you believe your disability worsened. And now we're going to talk about the statement and that at the same time. So in your initial part of your increase statement, you just simply state you believe you should have an increase. But then also say when you think it started. It can be backdated for up to 1 year from the date you filed the claim if you can prove it increased up to that time frame. That's pretty difficult to do. But if you went to the doctor during that time frame, cite that time and submit that medical evidence. Also, if you have witness statements, that would be helpful. So they may not help you get the backdating, but they may, right? So always have that evidence available for your increase. I'm not going to go through every single part of your current problems. I'm using, of course, the neck example, but the back example is very similar. Both have the exact same highlights. You need to highlight that number we talked about for radiculopathy if you have that. As in this first highlight, again, don't highlight your statements to the VA. I'm highlighting these to make it easy for me to point it out to you. I am often unable to fully extend my arms as that action causes severe hand pain. The pain level is typically 6 on the 10 scale. So in other words, you're letting the doc know how serious it is normally. And then by the end of the day, this is the repeated use over time estimate, my neck range of motion is reduced by approximately 1/3. Again, putting that little math problem there, putting a number on it. Because if you don't put numbers on these things, I can guarantee you the examiner is going to put the minimum amount down that gives you the least amount of rating, which likely isn't true. So make sure you put numbers on that fits you, right? Remember to tailor this statement to fit your situation. And then you need to talk about flare-ups. Again, put a number on, like I have here. Typically, my range of motion is reduced by 1/2, which is absolutely true. However, occasionally range of motion is reduced by 3/4, and at times it's completely reduced. All true for me. That may not be true to you. Tailor it for yourself. Your rating should come from this flare-up description, right? So the measurements are important at your exam so that you know, okay, range of motion reduced by 3/4 of your normal measurement. The whole exam's important, but you need to make sure you put a number on these flare-ups. The same thing with radiculopathy. I have radiculopathy flares that are at times completely disabling, especially with my left leg. 8 to 10 on the 10 scale, sometimes 10. I can't use that leg at all. In other words, I'm putting numbers on these things so that they can properly rate both my range of motion during flare-ups for not just my back or neck, but for my extremities for the radiculopathy. You can put down your diagnostics or assistive devices although assistive devices aren't going to get you any further ratings for backs or necks, but they are important to show that you have functional limitations and you need these devices to help you function. And then, of course, any MRIs, X-rays are important. They support radiculopathy claims. If you have that evidence, submit it with your claim. If they already have that evidence, at least still refer to it. And, of course, sign and date it. And you know what? I'm not going to keep you any longer, except to say, do not exaggerate your symptoms. Because every single year, I'm always surprised that veterans are exaggerating their symptoms, right? Don't do that. We want fair ratings. Say what's true for you, right? Get properly rated. But certainly don't say you can't do something when you can. You will get caught. They will take your benefits away. So just don't even chance it. Say what's true. That's all we want. Fair ratings. All I got to say, Irate Veteran out.